Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Rundown, where we talk about 2A news and conservative views. I will be your host today, Craig DeLuz, coming at you from the West Coast, the left coast, behind the Iron Curtain, otherwise known as the Sierras. But as we all know, I do not do this program by myself.
That's right. My name is Mike Piworski, coming to you live from the East Coast, the coast with the most, from the co-host with the most, here on Festivus on the Rundown, 2A Views, conservative news. It's great to be with everybody.
You know, Mike, I got to tell you, I had no idea what Festivus was this time yesterday. I was not, once again, I'm not a Seinfeld fan, but having said that, I am now clearly in the Festivus spirit.
I know you're wearing all that stuff, Craig. I told you yesterday, I find tinsel distracting.
Oh, Mikey, you are so funny. You are hilarious. In any case, sir, I wanted to. I just wanted to just kind of kick off the show today, just kind of letting folks know. If you do not know what Festivus is, it's a fun event. Well, before we get into that, let's actually go ahead and give a quick shout out to our sponsors.
All right, we shall do that. Let's say hey to our good friends at Hitman Industries, hitmanindustries.net. You've got yourself an AR rifle in the past couple of years. Probably already got one of their barrels and don't even know it. Well, now you can buy direct from them, the manufacturer. Get yourself a new barrel for your rifle or one for your next build. Hitmanindustries.net. Make sure you check out the California Republican Assembly, fighting the good fight behind enemy lines. You could be part of California's future today at the California Republican Assembly. If you want some awesome field gear, tactical gear, some nice winter gear, perhaps even also, you can go to uscombatgear.com. And if you want to get yourself some of the best tactical holsters out there, concealment holsters, all handmade, veteran-owned, go to Hawg Holsters, HAWG holsters.com, and use the discount code, The Rundown, all caps, no spaces, one word.
Folks, these are our sponsors. They come to you they bring us to you so that we can bring you to them. So do us a favor, follow the link in the description to this program and spend some money with them. And make sure you let them know that it was the guys over at The Rundown that sent you. So, Festivus, as it turns out, it's not a real holiday. Kind of like, Kwanzaa isn't a real holiday. Or at least it's made up, right, Mike?
I don't know about this Kwanzaa thing, but Festivus is real. We celebrate it.
Okay. Well, here's a really, and this is about a super brief history of Festivus that you'll find. It's from our good friends over there at Seinfeld, so check it out.
Maybe.
Kramer, I got your message. I haven't celebrated Festivus in years. What is your interest?
Well, just tell me everything, huh?
Many Christmases ago, I went to buy a doll for my son. I reached for the last one they had, but so did another man. As I rained blows upon him, I realized there had to be another way.
What happened to the doll?
It was destroyed. But out of that, a new holiday was born. A Festivus for the rest of us.
Well, that must have been some kind of doll.
She was.
All right. So, Mike, you want to lay out for the folks exactly some of the traditions for Festivus?
I do want to point out that the holiday began as Frank rained blows upon this other gentleman. So let's point that out. The spirit of Festivus. A couple of things in Festivus, right? First off, I don't like all those decorations. I find tinsel distracting. We just use an aluminum pole. Put the aluminum pole in the corner. Rest of the year, we just keep it in the crawl space. We have the airing of grievances. You have to let people know how they've disappointed you, and then there's the feats of strength. Nobody eats until somebody pins me. That's Festivus. And of course, you can make a donation every year to the Human Fund. It's money for people.
Oh, I just have to say, it is, once again, I just find it incredibly fun and funny. So I figured today's show would be themed pretty much after Festivus. So as we go through and we start talking about the various different news stories, you will probably notice, you will get to see some of the things that we are talking about in the glories of Festivus.
There we go. Very
By the
nice.
way, Mike, how is your Festivus going thus far?
It's wonderful. Aired some grievances early. Getting ready to eat a little bit later, so I've been stretching. Trying to get ready for it. Because you got to feats of strength. Somebody's got to pin the head of the household if they want to eat. That's the way it goes.
Exactly. And that's not an easy thing in my household. Let me tell you.
Yeah, listen. I you know what I do is I don't eat beforehand too. That way it makes it even more hungry. I'm just ready to go.
Put them to work. That's what you got to do. Got to make them work for dinner. Make them work for food.
Exactly right.
Okay, so let's get into our first story, shall we? Now, this one has to do with the passing of the spending plan. As you are aware, and I know you're aware because you've been watching this show, the Senate passed. Well, now passed. The last time we talked, they hadn't quite passed it yet. But the Senate passed a $1.7 trillion spending plan. Now, mind you, this spending plan was over 4,100 pages, 3 times the length of the Bible. That's how much it was. And by the way, they got it on the 20th, and they passed it on the 22nd, right? That's how crazy it was that they passed this. Basically, no one read it. No one knew what was in it because, as you read a bill, one of the things people may not know is that there's a lot of cross references, either to other things or other areas of the bill that you have to go look up, or to code sections that you then have to go to that code section in the things that are already law in order to recognize. So anyway, no one could have possibly read this entire bill. Nobody. Now, one would think that, the Republicans who generally tend to, even the liberal Republicans, tend to call themselves fiscal conservatives, right? Well, not in this particular case. In fact, the leadership of the Senate, the Republican leadership of the Senate, were the ones that were pushing. They were leading the charge in terms of passing this outrageous spending plan. Over here, if you go and you look, so there's a list of 14 Republicans who actually voted for this $1.7 trillion spending plan. This thing is now, by the way, over in the House. But $1.7 trillion. So they said there were 14 Republicans that voted to end debate, and then there were 8 Republicans who joined 48 Democrats. Right. So the final vote on the bill.
18.
What? I'm sorry, 18. I'm sorry,
joined.
18 Republicans. I'm like trying to scroll, read, and do something else in the background here. So what's crazy about this is 18 Republicans. Now, mind you, that's wholly what? There's 48. There's 49 Republicans. That tells you that easily almost half of the Republican caucus wound up voting for this mess. In here, let me go down here till we find the complete list. Okay, there's the complete list. So you've got Roy Blunt from Missouri, John Bozeman from Arkansas, Shelley Caputo from West Virginia, Susan Collins, who's someone we would expect to do that. She's a squish, from Maine. John Conyers from Texas, definitely would expect him. Tom Cotton was a surprise. Lindsey Graham, he has his good days and bad. Jim Inhofe from Oklahoma, Mitch McConnell, we won't get into him. Jerry Moran, Lisa Murkowski, once again another squish. Rob Portman, who's also on his way out. Mitt Romney, another squish. Mike Rounds, Richard Shelby, John Thune, Roger Wicker, and Todd Young. Now, Mike, the reason they said that they went ahead and they supported this measure, in their eyes, was because they're saying, well, we don't. Basically, what they're saying is they didn't really trust the Republicans to do what it is that they're supposed to do and stand against this stuff, or stand against crazy spending. Their belief was, though, by doing this, they're saying the House Republicans are not going to be able to govern. They have absolutely no faith in House Republicans, so they figure we might as well cut a deal for massive spending.
Yeah, Craig, before I jump into it, a side note, though, we either got to update that prescription in your glasses or send you to white people name pronunciation because, you butchered a couple of those there. But let's jump into it, right? How dare these 18, right? First off, we've talked before about lame duck sessions of the House and Senate. If you've been voted out, it's only been the last 20 years that if you've been voted out that you stuck around to vote. If you noticed, I think if you do the math, there were 3 Republicans that didn't vote also. So I don't know the whereabouts of them or which 3 that wasn't. But listen, if your constituents have voted you out, you spend the time in D.C. but you should be doing it packing up your office. Okay, the people don't want you to speak for them anymore. It's time to move on. It's just my personal feelings, and I know that was the feelings of the Senate and the House for up until about 20, 30 years ago. Craig, there are reasons for doing it. There's a little bit here, there's a little bit there. Crap, it's garbage. Cowboy up, so to speak. Stand up for what your beliefs are, or is this really your beliefs and you're wearing the wrong letter next to your name? And it's time to be a Republican, to be a conservative if you're going to. Passing a $1.66 trillion dollar bill when you've had 2 days to read 41 pages. Now, you're not telling me that you did due diligence to see what was in there.
Just real quick, it wasn't 41 pages; it was 41,000 pages.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, let's make sure we get that. Let's make sure we get that number right.
There we go.
You know what's a trip about this? Another thing to point out about this, the reason why many of them voted for it was because in there were 7,500, I believe it's over 7,000, what are called earmarks, meaning this is stuff we're going to give you in order to get you to vote for this. Some of it is stuff for their district, and some of it is stuff that's directly for them, right? It's basically bribes is what it is. It's a legal form of bribery. The Republican caucus supposedly in their statement of values say that they are against earmarks. But here it was, they were voting for a bill because, well, they got stuff. They were bought off.
Yeah, we need some reform up there. We obviously do. This is never what the founding fathers intended. We talked yesterday about what I want to see is all of these individuals' tax returns, prior to getting elected to office and their current financial status. That's the true tell of who's really in somebody's deep pockets. This is insulting, to all of us that are fiscally responsible, as well as everybody that's, stood up for this country in the past from our founding fathers and beyond.
Right. Well, and with that, I think I would definitely say that, this, well, let's just put it this way. This is the iron rod or the aluminum pole, and they're using it to, to the American people.
There you go. There you go.
Okay. The next item on the agenda is the airing of grievances. And right here we have Ron Paul actually does an annual report talking about spending, right? It's basically, he calls it his quote unquote Festivus report. But he points out that in this bill, this $1.66 trillion measure, there's a lot of things that are in this measure that are, that are areas where we need to conserve and where we need to cut back. But they're programs that at the very least people can look to and say, well, it does something. Even if you disagree with what it does, you can at least say that it does nothing. But Senator Rand Paul, in his Festivus airing of grievances, has pointed out that in here is about $482 billion worth of federal grievances. I mean, we're talking, this is just trash that they have included in this particular measure. Let's go down here and see if we can find there's more than $31.5 million worth of COVID funds went to buy luxury cars, and another $1.6 million was used to upgrade turf fields in Wisconsin. That's just one example. I found that the Department of Defense spent nearly $200,000 on espresso machines from Starbucks. That's right, espresso machines that are coming from Starbucks. That's where your tax dollars are going. Here's another one. The Vera Institute of Justice got $168 million to help illegal immigrants avoid deportation, right? It says here, in this group received more than $1.1 billion since 2008, according to this particular report. In other words, folks, there are people who are fighting deportation. Well, by the way, okay, let's be clear. You are fighting deportation because these are your tax dollars that are going to support organizations like this.
Yes, yeah, and let's be clear. This is the fraud, waste, and abuse list from the previous year up until today. This is not stuff that's in the. Well, I mean, there might be some stuff that's carried over, but this is all the things that have been spent during the last year that are frivolous. Just fraud, waste, and abuse. I mean, Craig, there's stuff in here like, would they spend $1 million on giving cocaine to mice to see how they react, and then they got was it some other animals drunk just to see how they reacted? I mean, it's just ridiculous amount of stuff that's in here. They did it was just over $100,000 to see if Thanos really snapped his fingers with the Infinity Glove, would it work?
Dude, no.
We spent money on that. We spent money.
See now, look, Mike, if you're going to do this, we need to be more accurate now. First of all, it was $2.3 million to inject beagles to inject puppies with cocaine. The $1.1 million was simply to get mice drunk.
Gotcha. Listen, I get mice drunk for a lot cheaper than that.
I can get them drunk a lot cheaper than that too. Yeah. But yes, folks, these are your tax dollars at work, and yet and still we have to now spend even more money. 1.7 million. You can imagine, or I'm sorry, billion. It's kind of funny how we talk about million like $1 million, like it ain't nothing. Except I know if I had $1 million, it would definitely be something.
Yeah, I could catch up on them credit card payments.
All right, well, let's get into okay. So that right there, well, that is our particular airing of grievances. The next thing we're going to talk about is the feat of strength. All right, I call it the feat of strength is because literally the only reason that the Democrat. I'll tell you why I call it feat of strength later, but first I wanted to talk about why the Democrats claim that they released Trump's tax returns. That's right. This is kind of the reason and the rationale behind what they're saying. So what they're saying, Mike, is that they discovered that the IRS during the first 2 years did not audit Trump's tax returns, right? Or at least they were saying that they did. They said that they had not audited his tax returns. So they wanted them released because the IRS hadn't done their job in terms of auditing it. And they wanted to release them in order to bring attention to the fact that the IRS was so lax on this. Now, Mike, here's the interesting thing. So in other words, he didn't break any laws. They didn't do it because they said he wasn't paying his fair share of taxes. They're not doing it because he violated the law. They are simply doing it because they could. Now, if that is not a quote-unquote feat of strength, I don't know what is.
And we don't advocate violence on here, but sometimes people need to be taken behind the woodshed, Craig. And these individuals that release this need a taken behind the woodshed. And I'm referring to on election day. Let's make clear that they're no longer welcome in the polls. Let's be clear. This is payback. This is bitter jealousy. This is hatred. This is Trump derangement syndrome. This is anything you want it to be. And this story gives you everything but the truth and the real reasons that they've done this. It's just out of pettiness, out of small brain reasoning that they gave away the president's tax returns to the media.
Yeah, this was nothing but a political stunt. We know this. And they simply did it because they could, and they have no idea the floodgates that they have opened I like you said, if I were on this committee, there would be a lot of Democrats' tax returns that would be getting released, and I would just simply say, look, what's good for the goose is good for the gander.
And it will. I'm confident it will happen come January 3rd or so when the new House is sworn in. The Republicans will take control of every committee, and this is going to occur.
Yeah. By the way, it should. I want to say it should. Here's the thing: it shouldn't happen. It should have never happened. There is no law, and they keep bringing up, well, every president since Watergate has released their taxes, and it's always been voluntary. This is the first time ever that someone, they literally, all they did was they didn't even bother to say, look, they didn't even bother to do any investigation. They just said, we're going to release them. As soon as they could not have gotten them and they could not have released them any sooner than they did. That's what's so funny about it. They're just like, bam, as soon as they got it, they put it out there in public.
That's their deal. Listen, again, these are weak people, and they believe that this is the way they can stand up there on the bully pulpit and get back at Trump. It's just going to hurt them in the long run, and maybe even in the short run, but it's going to hurt them.
Yes, it will. Okay, time to move on to our parting shots, brought to us by Hog Hosters. Right, Hog Hosters. Folks, it's a little too late to try and get them in time for Christmas, but you can get them in time for the new year. All you got to do is go to hoghosters.com. Make sure you enter in that discount code, The Rundown, all caps, all one word, and get your quality custom holster today. All right, this first one, Mike, once again, these are going to be in honor of Festivus, just so y'all know. The first one is the donation card. If you watched how basically one of the things that happened in this particular episode was if you've ever had someone give you a gift where a donation was made in your name to some organization that you could really oftentimes care less about. Well, George decided that he was going to do this, and the fund that he was going to do, instead of giving it to an actual organization, he decided he was going to give it to the Human Fund.
Yeah, the Human Fund.
You want to read this one to the folks real quick?
Yeah, a donation has been made in your name to the Human Fund. It's money for people.
Right. Now, do me a favor. Let the folks know why that is so hilarious.
Well, George had received from his company a donation or a card instead of a Christmas bonus. He'd received a notification that a donation had been made in his name to some charity. So he decided to gift his boss and the other people at work with the same type of thing, and he called it the Human Fund, and it's money for people, and he kept the money because he's people.
And yeah, the company turned around and wound up, they were going to they said they couldn't find a charity to give money to that particular year. So they decided they were going to give it to the Human Fund. And they wrote a $20,000 check. The problem was the accounting couldn't find the fund.
Oh, well, it happens.
Oh, well, it does happen. It does happen. So those are just two little things. Those are two little things from the Festivus episode. This next one is Rand Paul, and it's basically he's reciting a little Christmas ditty about the this year's spending bill. I'm not going to play the entire thing, but I thought you guys might like to hear a little bit of it.
'Twas the week before Christmas, and through the Senate and House, not a creature was stirring, not even a mouse. The earmarks were hung by the chimney with care, in hopes that St. Nicholas soon would be there. The senators were nestled all snug in their beds, while visions of pork danced in their heads. No budget was found, just mischief and debt, while the taxpayers hung their poor heads and wept. When out on the lawn there arose such a clatter, senators sprang from their oxygen. What was the matter? Away to the window they flew like a flash, tore open the shutters when they heard the word cash. The moon on the breast of the new fallen snow gave the luster of midday to objects below, when what to my wondering eyes should appear but a 4,000-page omni with endless debt year after year. With a little old driver, so lively and quick, I knew in a moment it must be St. Nick. More rapid than eagles his coursers they came, and he whistled and shouted and called them by name. Now McConnell, now Schumer, now Pelosi and Vixen, on Biden, on stupid, on dumber and Blitzen. To debt, to bankruptcy, to free money for all. Now dash away, more cash for all.
All right, so that's like 4 minutes. I didn't want to play the entire thing because I also didn't want to get hit with a copyright infringement. But I thought you guys would very much enjoy that. We will put the entire link in the comment section of the video. We'll put the link so that you can watch it. But I just thought that was hilarious.
What's going on with his hair? Can he do something with that? It's
no, just, evidently he can't.
But it looks like he plops on a bad toupee every day, and it's not. It's his hair. Just Rand, do something with it. All right, come on.
Right. Well, it's probably. I'm guessing that he's got the curly hair and he's kind of bringing it from the back. It ain't working, but you know what? He's a U.S. senator, and I'm not. So evidently, his voters don't have an issue with it.
No, I don't have an issue with voting for him. It's just come on, do something.
Do something up there.
Yeah. See somebody up there.
Well, before we go today, Mikey, how about a quick shout out once again to our sponsors?
Yes, I will. I will say hello to our good sponsors today at hitmanindustries.net. It's hitmanindustries.net. Rifle and pistol caliber barrels available in rifle and pistol links. So get them out. Check them out at hitmanindustries.net. The California Republican Assembly fighting the good fight behind enemy lines. Be part of California's future today. You want some awesome field gear, tactical gear, web gear, some wet weather gear, some cold weather gear, go to uscombatgear.com. Let's see. And then we have, of course, Hog Holsters, HAWGholsters.com. That's hogholsters.com. Get the best tactical concealment holster on the market. Use the discount code The Rundown, all one word, all caps, no spaces. And Craig, not one of our sponsors today is Home Depot, who guaranteed to get a Christmas present here by today and notified me today it won't be here until the 28th. So they're not one of our sponsors.
No, they are not. In fact, they are on our naughty list. They will be getting a lump of coal. Just, Mike, make sure it doesn't wind up going through, one of their windows.
Yeah, listen, I'm writing them. I called my credit card company to cancel the order, and now I'm going to send them a donation to the Human Fund in their name.
Sounds like a plan. Hey, everybody, thank you so much for tuning in. We've really enjoyed doing this show, and we enjoyed it. We hope that you enjoy watching it at least half as much as we enjoy actually doing it. Want to wish everybody a very Merry Christmas. We will be back next week. So, like I said, unlike some of those highfalutin, hoity-toity radio or talk show or podcast folks, we will be bringing you the news next week. So make sure that you all tune in however you choose to partake and encourage your friends to do the same. Have a fun and safe weekend, and we'll look forward and a fun and a safe Christmas. And we'll look forward to seeing you on Monday, the first day of Kwanzaa.
Yeah. Happy Christmas. Merry New Year.
Merry New Year. Very good.
Be